Welcome back to the Boss Mode walkthrough series. This is the final iteration of Chapter 8, Goblin Walker's Boss Mode. We are blessed again with another light heroes only. For those of you new to the concept, it's obviously not lightweight. It is the yellow heroes. Fortunately, we've had a pretty successful few runs with some other light teams that we've run. I like to bring Zen along because he's a decent healer. Kira is probably my strongest light healer right now. He does a lot of damage. And then I'm going to bring Echo for some extra energy. And then a secondary healer with Augustus. We saw that he's been, the couple of times that he's been summoned in boss mode, he's actually done pretty well, even though I have him terribly ruined up. I put a lot of trust in him to kind of do his thing. So when you're running an all yellow team, specifically this one here, um, the name of the game here is basically just survival. So Kira's going to do a ton of damage because a lot of these guys are undead. So really what we're doing is we're trying to keep our energy up so that he can use his AoE attack as much as possible. You probably will have to cycle through his attacks though at least once or twice. The thing is, if you get some energy going, you could at least use Augustus to heal and also put up his Aegis wall. Now you can obviously attack with Augustus and use his smite damage, but honestly, you're not bringing Augustus along to attack. Pretty much Kira is doing the damage, and the other guys are there just for support. And actually, Zen doesn't really have any purpose in this fight other than to occasionally use Enlightenment on Kira. That's the only reason that he's along. Um, so when we use Enlightenment, obviously we get the two turns, kill anybody that's undead. It's possible that because these guys, some of them have chilling skin, we run into issues of energy crisis. So it's always smart to bring along some energy potions. Realistically, unless you run into a serious pinch, I don't see many of your guys probably dying unless they really get an ugly shot from somebody. There's no elemental bonus, and honestly, some of these guys just flat out don't hit very hard. And once you get a couple of shields, Augustus is already armored, so he's not going down. Echo surprisingly holds up really well, and usually after the first turn, Zen's going to have a shield on him. So if you can survive a couple of turns, you're going to get to the point where your Aegis wall is up, and really there's just not much else that's threatening in here. So it's just a matter of hanging around until Kira can do his damage, use the other guys to attack as needed when their abilities aren't up. So chose to save my ability there just because he's undead. He was going to die in one hit anyways. I want to have that ranged attack in case I need a really strong one to kind of open things up. So it's not a huge issue if I would have used it there, but you know, it's one of those personal preference things. Again, I always pretty much attack with Zen unless I really need his heals or that invulnerability, just because he's probably the weakest guy on this team, and if they do choose to pick on him, it's gonna do some damage to him. So anytime I can keep the shield up on him, I usually feel pretty safe with him there. He's not really going anywhere. Um, so just be cautious about that, and then once we get towards the end here, then Augustus is going to have his Aegis wall up, and then the entire team's going to be protected. So at some point, you're going to have to weigh the option of using an energy potion. In this case here, there's a room full of guys. I can only attack one of them. Do I really want to risk them all attacking one guy like Echo? And in this case, I didn't. Because they're undead, I know that Kira was going to pretty much one-shot all of them. And if you didn't one-shot all of them, at least there wouldn't be as many guys to come back and try to kill my other guys. So the name of the game, Energy Potions, if we're being honest here, I like to keep the one revive potion just because we saw with my Cobalt team in challenge mode or champion mode, um, it's possible with the Vendetta trait that somebody's going to get hit. So I don't like seeing that possibility. So my general potion loadout is always 2 energy and 1 revive for boss mode. A little bit different mechanic here because we don't have a massive AoE to clear the entire group, and honestly, we don't really need it. So we're going to do Kozar here to basically get rid of most of the stuff. And then the whole reason we brought Zen is so that we can get the Enlightenment. And this basically lets Kira do a double attack. So At this point here, it's really smart if you use your other um, energy potion. Just use the AoE and get out of here alive. Um, so in this case here, you could get by with just attacking with his other basic skills, but the whole point of these, I've said it in almost every video, the goal of these is to beat them and move on. So even if it doesn't kill both of these guys, not a huge issue. We know that his second attack is going to kill somebody. However, notice that guy threw a little bit of boss frostbite on me. So I couldn't use one of my guaranteed attacks, but basically was forced into a regular attack. With the Echo doing his storm here, it's actually kind of handy because it's going to throw the boss frostbite on both of them. So now that I have Aegis Wall, it's basically a death sentence for both of them. I don't even have to hit them if I don't want to because the boss frostbite's going to take care of both of them. Kind of a neat mechanic that I picked up while farming the Permafrost Ice Cavern so many times. Once I was made aware of the shock and how it spreads those debuffs, I kind of like using it every now and then when you have bosses that are susceptible to it. So all in all, not a difficult run. We did have to use some potions, so it's by no means a flawless run, but we beat it with 3 stars pretty much on the first attempt and minimal runes. So that's going to wrap up Chapter 8. Stay tuned for the next one. It's going to be Bloodright Fortress.